Hello folks, I have to amend this video with more that has happened since that time, including something very significant just a few hours ago. It is now Saturday morning, 1 week after that snowstorm, the Saturday I was talking about in the video you just saw. The white pickup truck has showed up again and again. I don't have the resources to document every single time this person's there. Okay, when I went out on break, when it's this cold, the car will not start after 8 hours. It just won't start. So at lunch, on breaks, I don't have much choice but to come out and start the car and run it to get it warmed up so that it will start when I leave work. Many of those times when I go out there, just coincidentally, within a few minutes of me going out to that car and getting in there, that white pickup truck pulls in and pulls around behind my car or what have you. Everything I described in the last video. I don't take my camcorder with me out on break when I'm going out to just start my car. I can't document everything, folks, but the fact is, again, in my workplace, this creepy weirdo keeps showing up. Now, it was, I believe, Monday night. That was after I worked my last shift. My weekend was beginning. It might have been Sunday night, and I'm sorry, I just don't remember. But I was parked down in the parking garage, had like this, just fell asleep. You know, after sitting there doing work all day, I just fall asleep as soon as I get out of work. It's not even safe. If I had a home that was a distance away, it wouldn't even be safe to drive there. I am just so weary when I leave that workplace. It's a stupid job. The company is just an abomination. There are moral, ethical issues everywhere. We've lost so many employees. One of them who just left, I spoke to him before he left, and I just asked, "Oh, why are you leaving?" And he just went off. He just went off on a tirade. And he listed every single thing that I have been concerned about with this place. Specifically the management. And how, specifically within that, how weird the management was. And what he was describing was, you could argue, sort of kind of what I would call stalking. Paying a lot of attention to people in a way that makes you feel extremely uncomfortable in your workplace. And I've heard this before from employees. The human resource director who left the place, she told me, I don't know, I can't verify this stuff, but she told me the reason she was leaving was because the management there was stalking her. They would go out and follow her when she went on break and watch her and stare at her while she's sitting in her car on break. Okay, this is the kind of stuff we're dealing with, folks. This is years I have been at this workplace. You don't hear about that, but there are issues there. So again, I'm sorry, I don't remember if it was Sunday or Monday night, but when I get out of that place, I'm just a nervous wreck. I'm exhausted, I'm hungry, I'm dizzy. I've got to eat that soup or something so I don't pass out. And I just almost always pass out very quickly. I just can't help it. So I did, and at 2 in the morning, I hear this very lightly, and I wake up and I look out and I see, you know, the head's cut off, but I see the police uniform. And I can't open the window. And remember, in my situation, if it's a police officer who doesn't know me, if I try to open the door to tell him I can't open the window, they immediately start preparing to pull their gun. It isn't safe. Now, this officer knows me because, like I said in the video, apparently anyway, somebody in that workplace, in that business, keeps calling the police. I don't know how it's happening, but I don't know why the police keep coming into this private parking lot all the time to check me out. But anyway, I know this officer. He's a really sweetheart guy, really nice guy, and I felt horrible because I was so startled when I woke up. I forgot his name. I hate forgetting people's names. I'm so sorry about that. But I could open the door because he knows me. I open the door and say the window doesn't work. He's like, yeah, I know. And he was just wishing me a Merry Christmas And he handed me a very generous gift from the police department. It's 2 in the morning. I'm sleeping in the car. My alarm was set for about an hour and a half later to get up and drive back to my base town. He knocks on my window to hand me a Christmas gift, which will surely be the only Christmas gift I'll receive this year, since I have no family. I was absolutely shocked and startled, and for once I felt so good. He just wished me a Merry Christmas, handed me the gift, and he left. And you don't see people caring that much often at all in my situation. People can say defund the police, send them to jail. They can go through that nonsense till the end of time. Other than the police who were up in the place where I had my home, who helped contribute to me becoming homeless by not doing their job, south of Minneapolis, pretty much every police department I've encountered, south and west, all around, all these different communities, have just been stellar police departments, including this one. And I just marveled. I just sat in the car and I just felt so good, and I felt like somebody actually cares about me. He made a special trip out there. With the snow, he couldn't even see in to know if I was here. He had to drive all the way in just to see. And he said, I was just coming in to see if you're still here. It was maybe 6-8 weeks ago when the last time he came in and checked on me. And I asked him, I said, did somebody call you to come in and check on me that time? And he said, no, I just saw you in here. So at least that time, for some reason, he did come in. I think he had started working that shift, so he wasn't familiar with me. And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I feel safe with the police watching me as long as they understand my situation and let me be, which they do. I greatly appreciate it. They'll never know how much I appreciate it. But to be awoken by, just a light tapping, see the police, and I immediately, I couldn't see his face. I immediately think, oh God, here we go again. And that's what I get as a gift. Thank you to that police department. You don't even know what that means. Especially in contrast to what I'm about to tell you. So, see? The mouse rolls off my leg constantly. That's why it's so hard to work in this car. Just over and over and over, falls on the ground, and then the mouse clicks, and it closes the windows I'm working on or something. That's why you can't be productive living in a car. You've got the laptop on my lap. I believe that was the night of my last day. In other words, if I had left the place for my weekend, he wouldn't have even seen me there. I wouldn't have been there. I'm pretty sure it was Monday night. It might have been Sunday night, but I think it was Monday night. Anyway, an hour and I doze off again. An hour and a half, 2 hours later, I leave and I go back to my home base, where that hotel is, the storage. And I take my day and a half in the hotel, paying out the wazoo for it. I leave the hotel and I come back to work to start another work week. And that's where I gotta check my notes, and I'm gonna leave some things out because, again, I just can't document every single instance of this nonsense, folks. I can't do it. I mean, I can't make my life about documenting stalkers when you've got stalkers around me so often. That can't be my life. I don't want it to be. I don't have a choice when I'm making videos like this, when I'm filming these things, when I'm going out and taking measurements. I don't have a choice. It's because of them, not because of me. I have other things I want to do. I told you in the video all the projects I'm trying to work on, which I've gotten 0 done. No Christmas mix of music this year. I don't see how I'm ever going to be able to enter those contests. I haven't even been able to start on one of them yet. So I come back to my workplace and I do my work. Now, there's a few things going on at work. I have people at work, like I said in the video previously, they're very nosy. That's just Minnesotans. And they pay attention to you. For example, they will notice that I'm wearing sandals. I don't think I can tell you out of 100 people or so in there, in 6 years, I don't think I could ever tell you what shoes any of them are wearing. I don't pay attention to that. It doesn't concern me. But they'll point out these minute things about, boy, you sure are carrying a lot of bags into the office today, Paul. They'll notice these things and mention them. Again, it's that passive-aggressive thing. I'm homeless. I have to bring in all the stuff to keep it safe. So I do carry a bunch of bags into work. But I don't notice what they're carrying. Those people might be carrying a bunch of bags. They might be carrying nothing. I don't notice. I don't pay attention. I'm not a stalker. I don't sit there and watch them. There's one young guy who I work with, and lately, for some odd reason, he keeps staying late. Remember, I stay late. When we close, I'm the last one out because I'm losing my voice in the cold here. Sorry. I have to make my soup. So I make my soup, and I have to go out and start the car and let it warm up. The engine, at least. If this part may not, but the engine. It's a good half hour before I'm done with that soup and I can take it out to the car and leave the workplace. A good half hour after everyone else has left. Lately, this young guy who sits in a cube near me, he keeps staying essentially as long as I do. And there's no reason. His bags are all packed. His computer's shut off. And he's just sitting in his cube, kicking back, looking at his phone. Now, this guy has said openly that he lives 8 minutes away from our workplace. Why all of a sudden has this guy, who, by the way, is very chummy and buddy-buddy with the managers, the supervisors at this place? Just thought I'd point that out. Why all of a sudden is this guy feeling the need to stay an extra 10, 15, 30 minutes after work, just milling about, walking back and forth through the halls, not doing anything whatsoever? For example, when that half hour's up, what's the last thing I do? I go turn off the lights that all the managers didn't bother to turn off when they left. They're just managers. Why would they do work? I'm the one who turns off all the lights. I'm the one who cleans off the coffee machine, cleans out the coffee pots, gets it set up for the next morning. I'm the one who wipes down the microwave oven, cleans the kitchen. Very rarely do the supervisors ever do that. But this guy who's just been there lately watching me, who is just wandering around aimlessly with nothing to do for some reason, but then he just happens to leave when I leave, staring at his phone. He's not out there cleaning the coffee pot. He's not shutting off the lights. So I just want to make a point. This guy who is chummy with the supervisors in this place has suddenly started doing that for no reason out of the clear blue sky over the last week or two. Very strange. Now I gotta look at my notes to see make sure I capture everything here. Now I want to ask the question, if he lives 8 minutes away and he has a home, freezing cold winter, he's got a car that apparently works, starts right up and he can just leave. He can just start up the car and immediately leave. 8 minutes away, a nice, warm, comfortable home that is his safe place. Locked doors, privacy, but for some reason he's choosing to stay an extra 10, 15, 30 minutes at a closed business park where there's just one guy who's twice his age, far more responsible. I'm the one who protects that place, you know, from fire by turning off the coffee maker, cleaning it, turning off the lights, and securing the doors and things like that. I'm the one who does that. I'm the one who was an executive previously. I know how to run a business. This kid's just sitting there doing nothing. 8 minutes away he lives. Why doesn't he go to that workplace and then stare at his phone? Or why doesn't he go home and then stare at his phone? In that nice, warm, comfortable place. He can make some hot cocoa. Maybe he has a family there and he can crawl into bed with his wife or something. Why doesn't he do that? Why? Why, folks? Why? That's the question that enters my mind the whole time I'm doing the same stuff I've been doing for years, and all of a sudden there's this guy who's sitting there watching me do it. One of the things I have to do when I leave, when I go to the parking garage, I'm burning so much oil, I have to put in 1 or 2 quarts of oil every week in this car. I also have to put in about half of the bottle, the reservoir of antifreeze, because it's just burning it all off. Running this car for 24 hours a day minus work time, it just burns everything off. That's all that white smoke coming out of the back. That's what I'm breathing in. That's why my voice is fried. That's why I will never sing again. Now, when it's that cold out, it's convenient to go down to the parking garage if I'm not already there, where it's flat, the only place that's flat, where my car won't just roll away. Check the oil and top off the oil. But to top off the antifreeze, the car can't be hot. And if the car is running for 16 hours, folks, it may not be hot in here, but the engine is steaming. So I have to turn off the car and let it cool off deliberately. Or when I first leave work, I have to coordinate somehow that when the engine is cold, I do the antifreeze part. That's another reason having all these stalkers, that big pickup truck and everyone, all these people who are watching me all the time, I can't get that done. I don't feel safe getting out of my car. I don't feel comfortable getting out of my car and doing this maintenance on the car that has to be done to preserve the engine of this car, because the engine of this car preserves my life. But I've got these weirdos who have no business being there at that time, always somewhere staring at me, over there in the stairwell staring at me, over there in that little cubby hole staring at me, in the office just sitting after work staring at me, driving around in a big pickup truck staring at me. Nobody else are they looking at. And it's hurting my engine because I don't feel comfortable going out there. If nothing else, it's just embarrassing that I constantly, every day, have to go open up the hood, check the oil, top it off, and try to deal with the antifreeze when necessary. Another thing I alluded to in this video, but I need to mention, is this. When I'm asleep in that car, given what I said about there's weirdos out there with fetishes who like to have sex with cars, and who knows what's going on, but you've got all these weirdos around me, including this guy I work with who's staying late and staring at me. How comfortable would you feel going to sleep in that? Going to sleep and not knowing what's going on around you as you're sleeping. Because if you look at one of my past videos about Best Buy, when I went to get a dash cam, one that has a motion sensor to capture this stuff while I'm sleeping, they screwed me over and I couldn't get the dash cam. So I don't have a record of what's going on when I'm sleeping. Is somebody going back to my tailpipe? Is somebody standing out in front staring at me, maybe masturbating? If you think this is strange, folks, you don't know the kind of people I'm dealing with here. These people get off on other people's suffering. That is what I've been saying about Minnesotans all along. It is not at all implausible to suggest that something of that nature could possibly be going on while I'm sleeping. It is not implausible. Not given everything else I tell you about and I can document. It is possible, and just the possibility of that makes my skin crawl. When you go to sleep at night, do you worry that somebody, anybody, who you don't know is going to come and be in a position where they can sit and watch you sleeping? And it doesn't matter if you're worried that they'd be masturbating, or that they're there to do something else, or that they're filming you. Does that creep you out at all, to think that while you're sleeping, a total stranger could come there within feet of you and just do whatever they want to do while you're sleeping? Whatever it is they want to do. Does that creep you out at all? Because every single night for 6 years, that's what I've got to deal with. And if that's something I'm going to worry about or be concerned about, the concern is quite a bit enhanced when I've got things like this white pickup truck stalking me, and this guy in the workplace who's staying late staring at me, and all the other weird things that are going on at work where these people are paying an inordinate amount of attention to me personally, and from what I can tell, nobody else who works there. This is my workplace. After you're home, it's supposed to be your second most safe place. And I don't just feel uncomfortable there. My skin is crawling. I just feel like my stomach turns. And it's all because of people who keep coming up near me. If you notice this pickup truck behind me, again, out of this entire parking lot, there are a few cars there now. Out of this entire parking lot, this guy is plowing right next to my car. Not next to those cars, those nice cars. Right next to my car. Look at this. This is exactly what I've told you about, folks. They plow you in. If you're sitting in the car, they want to make a point. They want to intimidate you. Do you see anything? Do you see anything? Do you see anything here? Anything. Everywhere I go, everything I do, this is what I have to deal with. This isn't even my workplace. Great, now my Zoom is off. Folks, I am just a nervous wreck. This is what you call trauma. What you're seeing here is what's called trauma. When I said in my video about how similar this situation is to what happened in my home, the very thing that made me homeless. This is trauma. And it's being caused by human beings. It's being caused not by the birds in the sky, not by snowflakes, not by lampposts, not by a skunk or a raccoon or a squirrel. It is people are the only reason that I am experiencing endless, constant, 24-hour-a-day trauma instead of going to work, being left alone to do my work, going to my car, going somewhere like downstairs in the garage, and being productive for, like I said, 22 hours I had available in those 3 days. And instead, I got zero done. Nothing productive. Nothing. And the whole reason for it is people, specifically Minnesotans. If they didn't do what they do, I wouldn't have to worry about any of this, would I? I could just get out of work, go downstairs, do something productive, doze off. When I wake up, do something productive, move my car, do something productive, and then go back to work. But instead, all I get to do is suffer when I'm not at work. Folks, I don't know what you call this. I call this flat out harassment. This doesn't make any sense. Why am I the target of this? There was one coworker I had who would, in fact, every day, every night, closing with me, when we would leave, she would sit in her car for 1 hour on her phone. 1 hour. And I would be parked far away because I don't like being parked near people. And whenever one of these creepy stalkers came in the lot, not once ever did I see them pay any attention whatsoever to her. She's got her car running. She has her headlights on. I don't. My lights are off when I'm not moving, because you don't need them, you see. Not once did any of these stalkers ever pay any attention whatsoever to her for the 6 months or so that she worked there and she did that. But they always are paying attention to me, aren't they? She had a really nice car, by the way, just so you know. Nice, shiny new car. An osteophobe, someone who hates the homeless, might look at someone who has a rusted out bucket like this one and think, I don't like this person. I don't like the looks of them. I don't like the cut of their jib. I don't know them personally. I don't know who they are as a human being, but I'm not really much of a thinker. I just act on instinct like an animal, like a human animal. And if I see someone with a rusted out car sitting in their car, I feel like I need to stop what I'm doing with the only life I will ever live, this little sliver of eternity where I'm alive. I need to stop doing something productive, and I need to go mess with that person who's sitting in their car. In the case of that pickup truck, several times every single day. Folks, last night, it is Saturday morning. Last night was Friday night. That kid in the workplace stayed a full half hour. I got done. I made my soup. After he left, I go down to the parking garage. I pull out the computer. I try to get something done. This time, I just dozed right off. I mean, I did eat the soup, but I dozed right off. So I really got nothing done. I was basically setting up, doing some file management. Now, of course, when I get in the car, I do my best to set the alarm right away in case that happens. So the alarm was set. The alarm was set for 4:30. Apparently, I slept right through the alarm. I don't remember hearing the thing go off. It was set when I looked at it later. So apparently, I just slept through the noise. This big beeping sound that's right where the camera is, that's where I put it. I can sleep right through that and not even know what's happening. That's how exhausted and weary I am. So instead, I wake up 1/2 hour later at 5 o'clock. I look over there. Now, before I tell you this, I got to tell you something else. When I came back to work last Thursday, this is the time I start work for the next week after all that stuff previously in this video I told you about, the snowstorm, the plows, all that. When I came back on Thursday, there was a car sitting in the parking garage. This kind of somewhat run-down egg-shaped clown car with either stickers or tape all over the back window, black wall tires. Just looks like a gangbanger mobile or something. And the thing's just sitting in the center of the parking garage, essentially where I park my car, about 4 or 5 spaces down. And it's just there, and it's been there ever since. It looks to me like an abandoned car. It might be a car, one of these carjackings, and someone stole it and they just dumped the car there. I don't know. But it's not a car I've ever seen in this workplace before, ever. I would know it because there's just nice cars in this workplace for the most part, except for mine. This ain't a nice car. So that thing's just been sitting there. It's probably these gangbangers who I've chased out of here. They stole a car and they go and they park it right where they think that I park. They were wrong by about 4 or 5 spaces. And they park it there. Again, it's an intimidation thing. That's my guess. I don't know. I could be wrong. But for either way, that car is just sitting there. Again, nobody goes to this parking garage. Nobody. Why is there a car parked down there in the middle of the parking garage? So the whole time, I'm worried about someone coming in at night to pick up that car or something while I'm sleeping in here. Just another added burden. I wake up at 5 a.m. this morning, a half hour after my alarm goes off. I look up. Yeah, that car's still sitting there. But you know what? There's one other car in the garage, in the parking garage. This nice, shiny, brand new, yellow Volkswagen Beetle. And you know what else, folks? There's snow. You see the snow being plowed right now. There's like 2 inches of snow. When I checked the weather report before I left, maybe 12 hours earlier, there wasn't any snow even mentioned in the weather report. And there's all this snow. Okay, well, hey, Paul, someone in your workplace who has a yellow Volkswagen wanted to park in the garage so their car doesn't get snowed on. Okay, that sounds plausible. Here's the problem, folks. I know who owns that car. It is the supreme commander of my workplace. The head manager. The number one reason that guy who left the company, who just went on a rampage about his treatment, the number one reason he cited for leaving was this guy. This guy was complicit in the reason that HR person left, the one who said she was being stalked. And the ethics and morals involved here is one of the biggest problems I have with the workplace. Let's just leave it at that for now. 5 in the morning on a Saturday, on a day where he isn't even there, and the business doesn't open for what? Another 3.5 hours? No, 4 hours. No, 3 hours. It'll open 3 hours later. 5 in the morning. This guy lives a long ways away in another town. He has a family, newborn kids, a wife, a house. But here's the kicker, folks. He also has a passcode to park beneath the building in the nice, warm, heated, dry parking area that's under the building itself because he's a head honcho. So he gets out of his car, he walks to the elevator, and goes straight up to our office. But no, this time instead, for some reason, he felt compelled to park in the parking garage near me. And as I left, I saw his footsteps going where? To the very place where he would have entered his car if he had parked in the underground garage, where he's allowed to, and he has a code to do so. So this guy, instead of parking in the most convenient place where his car would be nice and warm when he comes out of work, just take the elevator down to your car and leave. At 5 in the morning on a day when he's not even supposed to be there, and the business doesn't open for 3 hours later, this guy is parked over there not too far from my car, and the footsteps lead to the very place where I would have parked, which is under the building in a nice warm area. Now, I was so freaked out by this. I mean, you talk about your heart beating, you talk about just workplace harassment, you talk about just feeling like, what is going on here? This is freaking creepy. Me, of all people, I forgot to pull out the camera and film this and show you the footsteps, the tire tracks, the car in there. I forgot. Like I said, I can't document everything, folks. This happens too often. What is that guy doing there at 5 in the morning on a Saturday when he's a Monday through Friday guy, the head honcho of the business, the place doesn't open for 3 more hours, and instead of parking in his entitled place below the building, which is nice and roasty, toasty, warm, right next to the elevator, he decides to park in the freezing cold, bitter, Arctic cold parking garage, and then trudge his feet through the snow, through 2 inches of snow, all the way over to the building and enter the very place he would have parked his car. Let me go back to the question I asked you a moment ago. When I'm asleep, when I'm not asleep, I have to ask myself, what are these people doing when I'm asleep? Here's the question, folks. When I was asleep and that guy, my boss, the manager, pulled into that parking garage, did he just pull into the parking garage and not even notice my car sitting there with the engine running at 5 in the morning and then just walk to the building? Is that what happened? Or did that guy walk over to this car or drive over to this car, look into the car, film me sleeping in the car? What did he do? I don't know, and I have no way to find out. This is exactly the kind of creepiness I'm talking about. When you sleep at night, do you have to worry about somebody? Do you have to worry about your boss possibly standing at the edge of your bed, watching you, filming you, or masturbating to you? Because that's what I have to worry about. I'm getting really angry in these videos lately. And I hope you can understand why. There is so much more I can talk about, but this plow who clearly wants me to leave this parking lot, not them, not the ones with the nice cars, but me, I've got to go. I got to pack this up and go. Folks, I am being stalked in my workplace. These people are singling me out. This, to me, is harassment. This freezing cold place where I am. And just, folks, I don't even know what to do with this. I don't even know what to do. Look at this. I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm being stalked in my workplace. That job is what keeps me alive. And once again, Minnesotans are putting it all at risk. That's all I got for you. I know it's hard to believe, but it's not my first instinct to take this camera with me when I go to lunch from work. I went to lunch 15 minutes late. I was delayed by work. Totally random time, 15 minutes late. I step out the door and start walking to go to my car to start it and keep it warm, so it'll start tonight. I got about 3/4 of the way to the car when that white pickup truck pulled in here at relatively high speed, came straight to where you see right here, went to the spot here that is around, and made a beeline straight for my car out there. Then it stopped right behind my car, smack behind the car. Stopped there, sat there for about 10 seconds. Then he took off that way and he left from where he came and he went off to the left. You can see his tracks right there, in fact. Those are the tracks of that ridiculous white pickup truck. Folks, this is a Saturday, 3:15 p.m. This guy doesn't work here that I'm aware of. Why does he keep entering this parking lot? Notice one thing though, he just did a loop because my car was obvious where it was when you pull into the lot. He did not go downstairs this time to go sit in that little U-shaped area where he can stare at me. That's where he is when I'm downstairs. But he didn't feel the need to do it this time, did he? He stopped right here, right behind my car. This guy is a creep. Here's another thing, folks. When I got out to the car, look at this. You've got the track of something like a bobcat coming right next to my car. That thing is about 2.5 feet. Right here, I'd say less than 24 inches. Less than 24 inches from my car, that track is from right here. Maybe exactly 24, probably less. Coming in on a weird angle. That's a fresh track. You don't see where my car drove over that, did you? When I pulled in here? You don't see that. That's a fresh track since the snow has quasi-melted during the daytime. Coming right where that pickup truck just drove off this direction. That's the pickup truck's tracks. That means that since I pulled in here today, the Bobcat pulled in here. Why would it pull in here? There's no snow. There's just ice. There's no salt dropped out here. Why would the Bobcat be coming 24 inches from my car in the daytime when I'm parked out in the distance, as you saw earlier? Why would that happen?